This here is the Mercedes Benz EQA, the smallest all-electric Mercedes you can buy anywhere in the world. In our country, it is priced at around 65 lakhs before the taxes kick in, and I have been driving it and have been living with it for a month now. Now, there are some very big promises that the EQA has been making in a family that is full of other all-electric models as well. And frankly, after having lived with it for a month, there are a whole lot of positives that make me feel like I don't want to give this car back. Now, what is it about the EQA that I found so interesting to the point where I actually would want to buy and drive back home in one? Stick around to find out. Mercedes' electric portfolio in the country includes models like the EQB and the EQS, which are, in terms of dimensions, much larger than the EQA. Now, just for comparison terms, the EQA actually is slightly longer than the Hyundai Creta and is much wider, of course, but also the same height. So essentially what this means is the EQA is perfectly suited for Indian conditions. Whether you're looking to park this car or you're driving in bumper-to-bumper traffic, the dimensions of the EQA make it quite ideal for our conditions here. At its very core is a 70.5 kilowatt-hour battery pack, which Mercedes says is good enough for a range of over 500 kilometers. And as you can probably make out from my jacket, here in Delhi, the winter has set in, and with air conditioning off, we've actually managed to drive this car for around 500 kilometers before it needed a plug-in. Now, just because it has a very respectable range doesn't mean it's short on power. There is 188 bhp and 390 Newton meters of torque on offer. So while it can be the occasional sprinter, it is definitely a very, very respectable marathon runner. Now, just because the EQA is the youngest and smallest of the electric vehicles in the Mercedes portfolio does not mean that there is any compromise on the inside. It is a fairly well-kitted car, complete with a Burmester sound system all around, a head-up display unit, elongated infotainment screen with the driver display that's all digital. There is ambient lighting here, there is a sunroof at the top, and there is extension for additional leg support on the front two seats. There is also a whole lot of space on the inside, considering of course the overall proportions of this vehicle. So 4 people on the move are quite comfortably seated here, whether you're actually traveling within the city or beyond. In fact, the only one thing I didn't quite like on the EQA is the boot space. Now, there is over 400 liters of cargo area, but this car, when it came to me, came with a spare tire here and a whole lot of charging points and plugs and whole lot. So that's really left me with nothing for my luggage, no space for my luggage, unless of course I take everything out and put it at home and then we go for a long drive. So when there aren't these many things here, it is a spacious boot, but otherwise though, well, you'll have to make do with certain compromises. Now, while it does have a 500 kilometer range, and it's not just claimed but we've actually experienced it, the EQA does of course need a recharge from time to time. But finding public charging stations here in Delhi at least has not been an issue for us at all. The charging is also quite quick, so right now we're down to about 45-48%, and with this high-powered charging point here, this one is a static of course, you can power it back to full in just about 2.5 hours, so no problem there as well. Of course, if you buy this car, then you can have a wall kit at your home or office as well, so that's some additional convenience. So then the EQA, does it actually make sense for you? It does for me, because it is fairly reasonably priced in Mercedes' electric portfolio in our country. I've already spoken about the dimensions which make it, well, quite suitable for Indian conditions, and it has a very, very impressive range. Not a claim range, but the range that we actually experienced of around 500 kilometers per charge. The performance too is fairly good, and on the inside, space is decent and the features are quite exhaustive as well. On the flip side, the cargo area, well, not that great, and the design, while decent, isn't quite styled to impress. It isn't exactly very sporty to look at or very, very magnetic or polarizing. But then, if you're someone who's looking into stepping in the world of electric vehicles and a Mercedes generally as a brand impresses you, then the Mercedes EQA makes perfect sense for you.